The first episode of the Halo series premiered a couple days ago, and the reaction was interesting to say the least. Critics were very meh on it, and then it came out, and audiences in general were very meh on it. When you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's ironically completely lined up, 60% to 60%. It almost doesn't get more meh than that. I guess they could both be at 50%. But what seems to be the reaction from so many hardcore Halo fans, you know, the people who are actually excited for this, who actually know what they're looking for, who know what they should be seeing on screen for a Halo TV series, has been pretty bad for Paramount Plus, because almost resoundingly so, whether it's the way Master Chief acts, whether it's the universe that this is set in, whether it's the race swap characters, whether it's Master Chief taking off his helmet in the first fucking episode, a lot of Halo fans are pissed off about this. And one of the reasons that it happened that way, and one of the reasons we saw so much of this backlash, was because of this Variety article in which this quote came out. "We didn't look at the game. We didn't talk about the game." Halo Season 1 showrunner Stephen Kane says of his prep with the game's developer, 343. "We talked about the characters and the world, so I never felt limited by it being a game." Well, Stephen Kane has responded. A lot of people are saying, well, look, obviously he was just misquoted here. So I went ahead and, all right, fine, let's see. Stephen Kane, at Mrs. or Mr. I thought that said Mrs., but it's Mr. Stephen Kane. "Headlines are fun, but here's what I really said. To make the Halo TV series, we started from the game, and then we made the pilgrimage to 343 to study the entire canon so we could bring you the full Halo experience. Hashtag Halo the series." And I mean, that might sound good to a lot of people. I find it very, very difficult to believe that the quote attributed in this article is that far off. Because it's not like Variety was holding their feet to the fire. This is an article that's out to shill for this. This isn't an article that's here to criticize them. It's an article that's literally there to promote this series. So you would think that a lot of this stuff was probably looked at before. But what I decided to do, since I wanted to see what Stephen was talking about, maybe they put the quote right in the article. Maybe they just wrote this tweet wrong. Who knows? It definitely got a lot of attention, because this tweet seems to indicate that these people were not familiar with the games and didn't care about the games. They made what they wanted to make. So I decided I would go here. I would do my due diligence, right? So let's go to this article. And since he said, what I said is we started from the game. All right, let's do the game. How about that? Let's find the game, shall we? First instance of them saying the game. "They've had quite a bumpy history, haven't they?" says Halo executive producer and director Otto Bathurst. Like Schreiber, Bathurst had never played the game before he landed the job to direct the pilot. I'm doing a search function on this just to find the game. That's all. Let's see what we uncover. Maybe the showrunner was completely taken out of context in the tweet. We'll see. But now, already what we've discovered is the lead character never played Halo before. Okay, that's weird. The executive producer and the director who got this job had never played Halo before. That's weird. This is what they do. They get these people who are not invested at all, who know nothing about this product, and they plug them in. The executive producer and the director has no idea what Halo is, yet he gets picked to do this. What the fuck, man? Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Kiki Wolfkill began exploring anew how to expand the game into live-action adaptation, or in Wolfkill's words, linear entertainment. All right, that's another use of it. That canon, a vast science fiction saga, comes as much from dozens of tie-in novels, comic books, and exhaustive guides as encyclopedias as from the games themselves. And I actually completely agree with that. There's a ton of additional Halo lore to pull from. The difference is none of that contradicts what happens in the games. You might have one little thing here or there, but for the most part, that's not the case. They are tie-ins with the games. They don't contradict things in the games. The problem is, even in this first episode, whether it's the way that certain factions are portrayed, whether it's the way the characters look, the way the characters sound, the way the characters act, the fact that a character takes his helmet off, the fact that certain characters, established characters, have been race swapped for identity politics purposes, the fact that Master Chief doesn't act like Master Chief, None of that is simply because they used other sources other than the games. No, all those line up in the exact same way with the games. This doesn't feel like the games, which means it doesn't feel like those things. But now I think we have finally are at the quotes here. Let's see what we can find. All right, let's make sure we get full context for Stephen Kane. Everyone who spoke to the Variety cited Halo's expansive mythology as the factor that differentiated the series from other video game fare and made it so attractive as source material. What are you talking about? None of the people that you actually have on this project have ever played Halo before. So what do you mean this is what attracted to them? They just got a job. They got a job. And they were told, hey, go do this. And that's what they're doing. Many of the show's lead creatives spent several days at 343 just to be able to learn about it. We didn't look at the game, says season 1 showrunner. We didn't talk about the game. We talked about characters in the world, so I never felt limited by it being a game. So what Stephen Kane is saying is that this Variety article, which is literally meant to shill for it, well, they just completely got his quote wrong. He actually said they started at the game, not I ignored the game completely. Does anyone really buy that? I mean, listen, the mainstream media is garbage. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to argue with Stephen Kane about that. But I think that this is all a reaction to how bad this went for people, like how bad this went for Halo series. That this simple tweet, the attention it got, the videos that it spawned, the backlash that it caused. Now he's saying, what I really said is that we started from the game, not this quote that was attributed to me in this shill piece. No, I don't believe that for a second. It's pretty obvious to anyone that's watched even a couple minutes of this game or of this Halo series that the game was not an important factor for them. They wanted the fan base, but they weren't concerned with it actually feeling like the game other than surface level stuff. They wanted to do their own thing. That's why it's non-canon. That's why they've race swapped characters. That's why Master Chief's taken his helmet off. They don't have any care about the lore or about the games. That's pretty obvious at this point. I've heard from a couple people that it just continues to get progressively worse. That episode 1 might be the high point for this franchise. If so, I think people are just going to get even more upset. I guess we'll find out. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.